This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. As we turn now to Syria, where the government's intensified its crackdown on opposition protesters despite growing international pressure. This morning, Syrian tanks reportedly shelled the main Mediterranean port city of Latakia as President Bashar al-Assad broadened a military offensive to crush street protests against his rule. At least one person was killed in today's attacks, according to activists, bringing the total killed to at least 28 since security forces moved into the city on Saturday. A Syrian military source denied as absolutely baseless media reports that Syrian gunboats shelled neighborhoods in Latakia. But al-Zour cited activists as saying Syrian gunboats firing heavy machine guns pounded the city, and videos uploaded by activists Sunday to a social media website show parts of the city under attack. Latakia has seen large anti-government protests since the Syrian uprising began in mid-March. The violence follows massive demonstrations Friday in which tens of thousands of people turned out to protest the Assad regime. On Saturday, a large crowd of mourners gathered in Douma, a suburb of Damascus, for the funerals of 4 protesters. According to video uploaded by activists, the protesters were killed Friday by security forces. Foreign media and observers are banned from Syria, so these videos could not be independently verified.
We do not bow for anyone but God. This is the funeral in Douma for the martyrs of Fridays. We do not bow for anyone but God protest. Their names are Fatima Karim, Bassam Turki, Mohammed Beitar, and Khalid Solik.
Western powers and Syria's neighbors have been pressing for an end to the violence. Last week, White House spokesperson Jay Carney said Syria would be better off without Assad.
I think we've made clear that we believe, the President believes, that Syria would be better off without President Assad. The international community is increasingly speaking with one voice on Syria in unified condemnation of Assad's brutality against his people.
To find out about what is happening now in Syria, we're going to go to London to talk to Haitham Maleh, longtime human rights attorney in Syria. He was released from prison earlier this year. Haitham is with his son, Iyas Maleh, a Syrian human rights activist who splits his time between Brussels and the United States. Iyas is also president of the Haitham Maleh Foundation. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Haitham, let us begin with you. It's good to have you with us, that you are safe. You were underground, you were in prison, now you're out of Syria. First of all, how did you get out?
It was I was dreaming when I get out because it was not able to go out Syria since 7 years. So at least I asked the immigration police to let me leave because they stopped me against the law, and I explained what kind of law in the paper, and I wait for 2 months. At least I send my colleague to the immigration to ask. So he told me that I can leave wherever I need. I did not believe, but another time I sent another lawyer. Also he said you can leave wherever you need. So I went to the police and get my passport in 1 hour, and I got my Schengen visa also. I didn't believe that I will leave, sure, but after the aeroplane be on the sky, I believe that I left.
What is happening in Syria right now, Haitham Maleh?
It's a kind of war. The regime make war against the people. Since around 4 months, 3,000 tanks cover all Syria. They are running here and here, from city to city, from village to village, attack people, attack mosques, attack buildings, everything, and security service, and those people, we call them al-Shabiha. In another hand, they attack the people by air force, by ship from the sea, from Mediterranean Sea, opposite of Latakia. So now we lost more than around 3,000 persons killed, 3,000 disappeared, about more than 20,000 prisoners, and we have before 5. So now we have more than 25,000 prisoners in jails. There is no jails enough to put the people inside. They use schools and other buildings to put the people. And you see the international community still do not take a good step to finish this regime, to throw them out of Syria. President Barack Obama said that Syria without Bashar Assad will be better. In my opinion, this is a good step, but Syria without the family Assad all will be more comfort, more yeah, it will be better than without them. Yes.
The Los Angeles Times is saying the local coordination committee, a network of activists, alleges that authorities in Homs, Syria's third largest city, have begun systematically killing detainees in an attempt to discourage participation in the protest movement. And the Los Angeles Times is also saying that the Syrian president might be trying to put down the protest with the naval bombardment of the Mediterranean port before international pressure intensifies. Do you agree with this assessment?
No, I don't agree. The regime in Syria always lie. We do not trust them at all. Not now. 11 years passed in his time. He did not take any good step to finish all the files from his father time till now. And he ruled the country in the same way as his father time, and nothing changed.
Iyas Maleh, what do you think of the Western response? What do you think the United States, where you live, I met you many years ago in Dallas, you now live in Florida, what do you think the U.S. needs to do?
Well, they really, it took them 5 months to finally say that Assad has lost its legitimacy, that Syria is better off without Bashar al-Assad. It's been long due, but finally we are here. We are glad finally that they reached that understanding, which we have been trying to convince them for many, many years, that this regime is, as like you were talking about your previous episode, about governments that just take the money of the people and oppress them. This is a government that take the money of the people and then suck their blood. I mean, they are bloodsuckers who have been killing the Syrian people for the past 40 years since his father came into power. And unfortunately, the international community, including the United States, has turned a blind eye towards this regime. Finally, we are here.
Last week, Robert Fisk wrote in The Independent of Britain, this slaughter will end only when words of condemnation are acted on. He argued, quote, most of the dictators in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain, in the rest of the Middle East would still prefer a reformed Assad to freedom, dignity, and liberty for his people. The Israelis don't want regime change in Damascus. Do the Americans? You only have to compare Obama's reaction to the massacre in Norway and to the infinitely larger bloodshedding in Syria. Obama described how the Norwegian killings broke his heart. Yet the slaughter of far more innocents in Syria merely elicits the idea that the United States can live without Assad if he goes. Let me put that question to Haitham Maleh. Yeah. The U.S. response. Is it adequate?
We know that all Arabic countries ruled by dictatorship regimes. It's not from now. George Bush the son, said before he left that the United States helped the dictatorship regimes in Arabic countries since 60 years. In my opinion, from the long time, from history, United States and the West do not want us to be as democracy regime. They want to help the dictatorship regime, the military regime, because they want their interest. They can pass their interest by one man, not by parliament, not by ministers, not like this. So now I don't know if really they want to change this idea. But by the way, I want to tell you one thing. The Syrian regime is not a dictator regime only. He is fascist dictatorship regime, killer regime. You cannot compare the regime in Syria like any other compare in all Arabic world. So now the time. This is the time to change, to throw out this regime out of Syria. And the people do not want them. It's finished. The game is over.
And Iyas Maleh, what do you think the U.S. could do to do that?
Well, I think there are a lot of things that the U.S. government could do. A lot of businesses are being done with Syrian businessmen that are supporting this regime. These need to be cut. There is sanctions that the U.S. can put on individuals that are supporting the regime to basically just close all the money flow into their hands. I mean, now it's there, basically stating that this regime is not legitimate anymore, and asking. I heard that they asked the American citizens to leave, U.S. citizens to leave, Syria, and I think France has done the same recently. So I think they reach a point of no return with that regime. We have been begging them not to wait until the bloodshed reaches that point and basically state that early on in the game, because this regime really have no legitimacy for 11 years. I don't know why it took them 11 years, the U.S., to realize that now this regime has lost its legitimacy.
And let me ask you about
they really have
the Iraq support of Syria, of Assad. The New York Times had a piece last week. Iraqi leader backs Syria with a nudge from Iran. That Maliki is a supporter of Bashar al-Assad.
Exactly. We did hear that there was even some money was delivered as support from Iraqi regime. That is really unfortunate. Iraqis who lived under Saddam Hussein for years, and finally they got rid of him. Now they are here to support a criminal as much, even worse, really, as Saddam Hussein. We haven't seen really Saddam Hussein using his army to kill his own people like we are seeing now Assad is doing, and like his father did for the past,